Oh, hold on. All right, my food's here. I'll be back in 1 second.
Hello and welcome to TGE, the podcast. It's episode 59. Today we're going to be talking about Hail Caesar. It's kind of a good movie, I think, but we're looking at it specifically because there's a scene with an editor in there. Today with me, as always, is Tyler. Tyler, how are you?
Good, Sven. We want to thank everyone who listens, thank everyone who subscribes to this show. If you have a friend that would like to listen to the show, let them know about it. And we are on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify, and you can have Siri subscribe for you. So go for it.
Nice. And also, if you wouldn't mind, give us a review. I don't think we have enough reviews yet. Please take a minute and do that. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Yes, a good one. Sven, what do we have any questions? That feels so artificial because we do. And we just said that we do. But
yeah, I actually collected a couple of questions this time, and this is
now, are these podcast specific, or are these to the channel, your YouTube
just
channel?
All over the place. And
Well, it's stuff that you don't really necessarily feel like you can respond to better in this format than in a comment response or email response or something.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. This is like sometimes really like involved questions, and usually what I would do is just not answer them. Because I could do that all day long, and so it's hard for me. But if they're interesting questions, then I think it's good to share them. Like I much rather, at the beginning I always said, well, please share these comments on a YouTube video or on a Discord group or somewhere where other people can chime in and can sort of benefit from the discussion. It's not very effective to do a one-on-one communication if it's like every day 30 emails of that style. So but here's one more opportunity to talk about all this stuff. So having said that, here we go. Abdullah, here's your question. Hey Sven, I've been working at a TV channel as an editor for 3 years, mostly doing news. And now I'm giving a task for a live performance comedy show edit, 8 episodes, 20 minutes each. I want to ask you that what should be my approach to such edit, given that I have no experience in this type of project before. Any advice will be much appreciated. So Abdullah is cutting 8 episodes of a live performance comedy show, and his background is mostly news editing. Tyler, what do you have as advice for switching genres like this or formats?
Well, I need more information. I feel like, is this 8 episodes of someone doing stand-up comedy live, or is this a sketch show? I don't really know.
Yes, I assume it's a live performance comedy show that would be like a 3-camera sitcom, maybe? Sounds like.
Okay. That's happening live?
Mm-hmm. In front of an audience?
Then I would wonder what type of news the listener's coming from, because if it's broadcast news in a studio,
I think
it might be quite similar.
Yeah, maybe it's like these packages that they're doing on a new show, where you have like a reporter bringing in some footage and then cutting a little piece.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's different than doing the live editing on a news broadcast.
Yeah. I mean, we're just assuming that's what it is, but that's how I understood it.
Have you done live TV before, Sven?
I have, yes. It's actually, once you get used to it, it's not that difficult. Usually what you have is you have a live show with several cameras, and there is actually a director on set doing a live switch. So he's usually somewhere in a broadcast center or in a trailer seeing all the different angles and is communicating with all the cameramen, and he's doing what it's called a line cut. So that is like a live recording of how he switches the show. And then that goes back into editing, and we then, as the editors, have the opportunity to just stick with that cut, or we can switch it up, because oftentimes they get it wrong or they miss it by a few seconds. Then we can go in and we say, oh no, we want this angle much rather than that angle, or here we need a reaction shot of the audience instead of staying on whatever, the contestant or whatever it is. And so you have that line cut, and then you have all the ISOs, the separate camera angles that will get uploaded or digitized or ingested as well. And usually the turnaround is super fast. That's the challenge of it, is you have to like do a cut within a day, and then you have to show it to the producers and then get notes, and then within 2 days it almost goes to network or it airs right away. So that's the tough part, is getting used to that fast pace, and it can take a lot of hours at the beginning. But
right.
Yeah, no. My advice would be just look at the line cut and start with that. That's really good to have as a reference, and then figure out what are the parts that you need to trim up. Especially if it's comedy, obviously pacing is so important. See if certain things didn't fly during the show and you need to enhance it through reaction shots or just cutting stuff out. All that good stuff.
Yes, and most sitcoms are done that way now as well. To some extent, there's some sort of a live audience aspect to it, whether they decide to do that after they've done a previous recording or they decide to do the stuff without the audience after they do one for the audience to have the coverage and backups and stuff like that. And my advice is, if you come from a news background, then you've already learned the hardest part of this gig that you're going to be doing, and that's dealing with the deadlines and pressuring, delivering with when the tidal wave of due dates is coming at you. So just keep it up and depend on the director and writing for guidance in the comedy, and you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, and build yourself a little library of audience reactions, especially with sound. So I always had like separately a bin just with audience reactions so that I can go in there and punch up a joke. Sometimes the audience reaction is not as strong as it needed to be, and then I just cut a couple more layers of laughs in there. I have like various degrees of laughs, and I mark them like this, like really soft trickle laugh, or just like immediate explosive, all these applause and awe and just yelling and screaming, all this stuff. You can really fill out the sound bed and make it feel more funny and more exciting.
Yes, and I should have probably mentioned actors as well. You can depend on them, but I didn't, so here we are.
Next question is, and I forgot to write down the name, but this came through Twitter. Is cutting this kind of fits. Is cutting comedy easier than drama, or do I just not know what I'm doing?
It fits because it is a perfect segue from what we were just talking about, but also fits because I feel like I still need more information. Is this someone that's having trouble with drama, or someone that's having trouble with comedy?
Yeah.
It might be that you have bad material. It might be many things.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, generally people say cutting comedy is harder. It's less appreciated, but it's harder to actually perform because you really need to be perfect when it comes to timing and pacing to make a joke work, and it takes a certain sensibility and instinct as an editor to be funny, so you have to have a certain sense of humor that fits with the show, and it needs a ton of experience to understand how an audience can potentially sort of wave the ride of comedy. So it's almost similar to actually writing stand-up and then like trying it out in front of an audience and figuring out what works. How long do I wait till I like do my punch, my tag in the joke? All that stuff is something you really need to like work out and test and try and see if it flies.
Right, and when Roger Nygaard was on the show, who's a good example because he's obviously edited tons of comedy for Judd Apatow, Larry David, Sacha Baron Cohen, for everyone, he said that the number one reason he gets hired is because he picks the right takes.
80% of the time, I think he said. If you can get that good, then you have a job.
And in sync with the showrunners or directors and writers as well, then that helps. So, I don't know, maybe you have bad material, but I do think they're both challenging. It just depends what you're working with. And, you know, something like Curb, I mean, and there's improvised dramas as well, you're having to figure out a lot more than just where the jokes are. You're kind of having to build the story, so.
Yep.
Good luck. I mean, I don't really have an opinion about one being harder than the other.
Yeah. The one thing that I find is a good editor will always make the material better than just the raw, the dailies. So you want to create that effect where the director has seen the dailies, knows what the choices are that are available, and then sees the cut and feel like, oh my God, this this is so much better, and we're on the right track. What you want to avoid is get to a point where somebody sees the dailies, is really excited about it, and then sees the cut and it's a letdown. Feels like it's not there yet. The potential hasn't been put even in the rough cut yet. That's a bummer.
Yeah,
because then you get nervous as a director.
Right. And also, FYI for everyone, feeling like you suck is most of the process.
True.
It's going to feel like that a lot. So don't get down because especially at the beginning.
Yeah. Cool.
I don't know. I guess editing has that too, where you can internalize it, which is a little different than some of the other stages of the process.
Yeah. That's what I like about editing is you have like finite choices in a way. I mean, you can go off script and create some interesting ideas and create new things with adding music or voiceover or something. You can almost do anything in editing, but in a way it's a puzzle, and the pieces are there, the puzzle pieces are there, and you're just puzzling around. And I really like that aspect of editing, that I have some form of limitation, and I can see the various options as I'm watching the footage before I actually start cutting. It sort of starts to happen in my mind, and I can sort of follow ideas that hopefully work. Yeah,
which obviously was much more essential to the gig back in the days of film.
Yeah.
And now people are kind of becoming over-dependent on the ability to just try everything. I don't know if that's really the best way to start out approaching editing.
Yeah, and I think experienced editors don't try everything. Like, they watch everything, and then they have an idea. And then they go after it and cut it. And if it doesn't work, then they try something else. But if it works, then there's no need to try everything else just randomly.
Yeah, and it seems like more and more it does just work.
Yeah.
That first time. You figure it out, and then it works, where a lot of editors starting out have the tendency to just not do that phase of it because of the digital technology makes it so easy to just try stuff.
Yeah, just still a good process to get somewhere.
Yeah.
I have one more question. You want to do it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was looking forward to it.
Okay, here we go. It's by Treasons Better, which is common on YouTube. I've been asked to edit a documentary, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. I've only edited music videos for fun in my free time. It's pretty much the same, right? Just scrubbing through footage and figuring out the most interesting ways to piece everything together. What do you think, Tyler? Is it the same? Music video, documentary, just scrubbing through footage, figuring out the most interesting ways?
I feel like that sounds like the select process. That's where you start.
Mm-hmm. I would say that documentary editing is some of the most creative, most challenging, and most interesting ways of editing or being an editor. It's the closest to actually writing something, where you really find the story in the footage. And the first step is the selecting process, where you just look for, okay, which are the interesting characters, the big personalities, what are the themes that seem to evolve, and the big ideas. And then you throw that in timelines and try to figure out, okay, how is this all connected? Finding these themes that you stringing out and throwing in a timeline. This is what some call the heavy lifting, where you have an interesting soundbite about something, you throw it in the timeline, but then maybe this is in the first act, and then maybe in the second act you're still like talking about something, and that bite would still relate to it, so you throw it in there again, and then decide later where it's going to actually end up surviving and be part of the final film. But like just building everything and figuring out all these big ideas and stringing them out in some form of narrative, possibly not chronological order, is really challenging. It's not everybody's game. Like, certain editors really need a script. They need to have like 3 setups in a scene and know exactly the lines that they're supposed to cut. But for documentary editors, they just go totally non-linear in stories and just think about what's the bigger story behind it that they need to tell.
Yeah, it's very fulfilling.
Yeah, and I think music video, not necessarily. I mean, yes, fulfilling, but not necessarily storytelling at that level. Oftentimes, it's just an artist, and you're just filming him sing.
I mean, you can do amazing stuff with a music video, but it's just a different thing than creating something that's possibly going to ignite a cultural movement and make actual change in the real world.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, they're just different things. There's something very satisfying about just nailing a cool music video too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's fun to do it all. So speaking of doing it all, this is a movie that has all of it in it. Do you want to set up Hail Caesar for us, Sven?
Yes, you sort of had the idea to do it because there is a scene with an editor. But Hail Caesar is basically a 2016 comedy film written, produced, edited, and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. The film stars Josh Brolin, George Clooney, a bunch of other people, and Frances McDormand. It's a fictional story that follows the real-life fixer Eddie Mannix, played by Brolin, working in the Hollywood film industry in the 1950s, trying to discover what happened to a cast member who vanished during the filming of a biblical epic. First talked about by the Coens in 2004, Hail Caesar was originally set to take place in the 1920s to follow actors performing a play about ancient Rome. The Coens shelved the idea until late 2013. Principal photography began in 2014 in LA. The film premiered in LA in 2016, early February, and was released in the United States nationwide. It grossed $63 million worldwide and received positive reviews. It got only one Academy Award nomination for production design, not for editing.
Very cool, and it kind of fits in with the thread of the Coen brothers. It just seems like there's a lot of like snippets of different stuff in it, almost in the style of the Buster Scruggs movie that was on Netflix. That, you know, was just sort of like just, it would seem like just a lot of abandoned scenes that could never really fully make a movie.
Okay.
And then they turned in the thing that got nominated for an Academy Award for Best Screenplay. And also, you know, this just has a lot of that vibe. And I think this scene's a good example of just, you know, well-structured reasons that comedy can work the way that it does and the way that their darkness works. So that's what we'll be looking at.
Yeah, it's also a very good example of how actors can save a performance. And unfortunately, if you haven't seen the movie yet, there is a scene prior to this where the actor completely struggles with the scene because he can't get the accent right or the dialect. And they, on set, felt like this is a complete disaster. And then when Eddie Mannix goes into the editing room later, he sees how the editor cut this together. And you can, I mean, it's not really spelled out, but it's clear that she saved that scene and made it work.
And it just seemed like it also got rewritten on set a little bit too, which is fun because that kind of just plays into everything that we're talking about.
Yep.
Cool. So what do we do on this show, Sven?
We play an actual scene and play it through, talk you through it. Usually there's a link in the podcast description. You can watch along. I could not find the scene anywhere, so we're going to watch it from the original movie. You can get it off, I don't know, Amazon. Can rent it there or on YouTube. It is about 2/3 into the movie. We're going to start it off with Eddie Mannix, that's Josh Brolin, the fixer, walking into the editing bay.
Cool. All right. And Frances McDormand, of course, plays the editor and, I mean, just shows up literally for this scene and maybe one other and talk about an actor adding just so much to it.
Yeah, true.
It's great.
She plays C.C. Calhoun. Okay, here we go.
Who's based on... Okay.
Yeah, based on who?
I feel like she's based on Margaret Booth, who was an infamous editor at the time that kind of oversaw everything and had worked with like D.W. Griffith and all this great stuff.
Oh, great.
It was just kind of the go-to for... So on click, we'll start. 3, 2, 1, click.
Back to your place?
Okay, so Baxter enters the editing suite. He's going to get a look at what's going on.
Oh, hi, Eddie.
Want to lace up what you got on Barely We Dance?
It's up now. I'll put some music on it.
So she's loading up the flatbed to do some editing. And it's a moviola. I thought maybe it's not. It seems like it's a moviola.
Yeah, I think so. Nice setup here of her scarf that she sort of almost got entangled. But saved it. Little
And
push
this
in.
is just... Yeah, and to me it's very reminiscent of what was going on in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for some reason, where it's these filmmakers that are just literally just recreating the style and execution of these pieces.
Yeah, so Josh Brolin is watching the movie now on this tiny screen on the moviola.
Now we're watching Jack Houston playing a character in the actual movie.
Getting
A lot of
into
foot
car.
shots.
So we're watching the actual scene in black and white.
I rather thought we might go to Lake Onondaga for the weekend.
Two shot
Just
of
the
two
two of
characters.
us.
Don't have my
Inside
valise.
the car.
Left it in your foyer.
Oh, you'll get by without a change.
Suits me. If you don't mind skipping out on your own party, Allegra.
Suits me.
And skipping out on Monty.
That suits me as well.
Oh, poor
Same
Monty.
What Monty
Witty
doesn't
dialogue.
know.
Won't hurt Monty.
Right, another foot shot.
Yeah. Must be Monty. We're seeing a bag, a traveling bag that he comes across and he stops. We're still on the feet. Cut to
We're
the door
building
open. Sorry, go ahead.
And we're building up to how he is going to execute this thing that we've just been seeing them try and try and try and try. Is it going to happen?
It seems
And-
Allegra's a no-show, which is simply a bore. But how
Boom. Film freezes. Film burns. Brolin's confused. He notices Frances McDormand choking with her scarf caught in the editing machine, trying to say reverse. Somehow he hits it. I mean, it's just so absurd. He looks horrified.
I shouldn't wear scarves.
And then
He goes right back in there.
they get right back to work, and he just...
So funny enough, the film didn't seem to have broken.
Allegra's a no-show,
And here's
which
the
is
big
simply a
line.
bore. But how apparently you rich.
You can still watch it.
Why the power?
There's a little blurb. The burn mark.
Complicated.
She took out all his
I didn't
lines.
even notice that the little flip was there. Yeah, that's a good point, because usually when it burns, it's a big problem, and they have to
Yeah, they have to
splice it and everything.
Splice it back together. It would take 10 minutes.
But otherwise, it's a very loving tribute to the
Yeah.
equipment and everything. And I think for me, the thing that I think is good to look at, aside from like making it interesting with, I don't even know if that counts as making it interesting, but like you point out, there's a lot of inserts and stuff like that. We hold for a really long time on picture within picture watching this other movie, and that happens a lot through this film. And this is a reason the way that it's done and executed kind of keeps the audience on their toes, because her choking, on top of just being dark and funny in the Coen brothers way, makes you think at any time you never know what's going to happen in the outside world watching this. So it kind of keeps you engaged in a weird way where it's like, okay, I'm watching this thing, but holy crap, anything can really happen. So you never really get bored, because it's very rewarding when you get sucked back into the real world.
Yep. What I really like about the scene is that there's a lot of inside information that is not explained. It's just there. Like, there's a whole generation of people they've never seen actual film burn in a theater, and what happens when that happens, which is basically the lights come on and you got to take a 10-minute break because they got to splice it back together.
Yeah.
And this whole process is not explained at all. What just happened, and you either know or you don't. But ultimately, I mean, you know, it happens because the film gets stuck there. It doesn't go through the projector, and because the lens is so hot, it starts just melting that frame of the film, and then usually it will then break up. And the reason why that happens is because she had her scarf entangled in the machine.
Right.
But I mean, a lot of people won't know that, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess maybe it becomes clear that she's caught, and that's all that really matters, and that the
Right.
thing's getting messed up, so you don't need to know the specifics of why.
Yeah.
But also, it's funny because it just makes you appreciate. I saw thousands and thousands and thousands of movies projected on film,
Yeah.
and never once saw that happen. So it's kind of amazing just like how locked in that technology is,
Yeah.
and should
I
still
had
be
it
used.
happen to me a few times.
In Germany?
theater. Yeah, in Germany.
Yeah.
That was kind of a regular
just
thing.
kidding.
Like the film was already like old print. I
Right.
mean, this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like a work print, and a work print is pretty beat up as well. But like
Uh-huh.
a film that you see in a theater, a work print, can be pretty beat up once it's ran a few hundred times or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it breaks easily.
And comedy-wise, I just also wanted to say the thing that's great about this is, one, comedy's unexpected, and it just like it's all about like distracting people from the joke that's going to come and have them not thinking about it.
Yeah.
And you are so not expecting this to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of left
Sorry,
field, right?
your
It's, I
piece
mean,
fell out.
what's the point? It just gives that character some flavor.
Right. It's grounded, it's realistic, and yet just absurd. And the way she's reacting,
Yeah.
I mean, rightfully, and just kind of like his reaction also is just like, it's such a comedy thing. So it's almost like his hat pops off his head and he's like trying to keep it on.
Yeah.
He's so shocked. And the way he plays it, like reacting to what's going on. And then, of course, after that, them completely ignoring it and going back to it for just the punchline of the scene
Yeah.
is just, I mean, it's just like only they can get away with this stuff.
Yeah.
And it works so well, but it's so, and for all the reasons that like a stand-up comedy joke does, but they're just such experts at it.
Yeah. But it's
I'm just
also, I
watching
mean, they
Brolin's
have
reaction.
obviously a huge star playing this editor, and
Sure.
they probably only had her for a day or two.
Well,
With
they're
the-
married to her, one of them, so.
Oh, there you go. So they've given her just something to do with the character that is not just a straight cameo.
Right, and I think, but I think you, star or not, you could say that of every character in every Coen Brothers movie, there's never one that's just delivering the mail. It's all, and yeah, that's the thing. I can't think of the greater significance, but there's so much in this movie. It's like, why do we just watch this entire dance scene? You can't think of the greater significance, but that's kind of the thing, and it
Yeah.
has like a really cool effect because of it.
Yeah.
As a film, and you know, I mean, you were a little wobbly on how great it was, but it's funny because the same exact thing almost works so well in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and this I remember being a little bit, I don't know, like, well, what's going on here? But it's just all the pieces are so great.
Yeah, there's something interesting going on at 50 seconds. This is the moment where we go from the shot that's showing like the floor, and then it's going to the outside swing door,
Right.
and as this cut happens, we see the actually like a marker, black marker on the
Right.
film going over, so it's indicating this is going to be a dissolve. And shouldn't it technically be a hard cut when you're actually doing your editing on the Moviola, and then you give it to opticals and they create the dissolve?
Yeah.
But it's actually
Oh wow.
we're seeing a dissolve with the marker line.
Right.
So yeah, I don't remember whether you can actually do dissolves.
I don't think you can, because then you could time it, and it used to be you had to wait 2 days to see
Yeah.
what it even looked like. So
Yeah. So not sure what the thinking behind that was. Maybe we have it wrong, but if somebody knows, let us know whether this is actually authentic or this is kind of a artistic license that's been taken
Right.
here at that
and if
moment.
that license taken, then is this whole thing like digitally put in? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And same could be said for the thing you pointed out too. Obviously, some licenses being taken in that with it not breaking, but we're curious to know, so let us know.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to point out at 102, when we cut from the like 2 sets of feet walking across the pavement towards the car, and then we actually cut to the inside of the car at 102,
Mm-hmm.
and we still see them like settling down in the car,
Oh yeah,
and then they start their conversation. This
Right.
feels to me like traditional editing from, when does this take place? In the 50s?
yeah.
So they are sort of mimicking the style of how that show or that film would have been cut. And I would argue that the movie that they're making is not cut that way. They would take out a lot of that air from
Right.
walking to getting into the car and then sort of really cutting faithfully to the action, the movement of them settling in the car.
Yeah,
Now-
it's-
nowadays,
yeah.
we compress that quite a bit. And it's interesting that they kept that to really be faithful to the style.
Yeah, it's wildly authentic, and it makes me wonder what that early version of the script was, because it would have all been silent stuff too, in the
Yeah.
20s.
Oh, yeah, true.
So yeah, it's a weird. Yeah, there's definitely artistic license going on here, and it's used in a way that comes across authentic. And just looking at that bit of her choking again, his reactions are just so good in that. And then it's all fine.
Yeah, I mean,
and then
there's-
of course in comedy, it's building and ending on a punchline too is the great part. All this, and it ends up serving the story, and then we're back in it because this is something that happened earlier, paying off. And
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the editing, I don't think there's like some major groundbreaking things going on, but what I really like is the composition of the shots. The white shots are beautiful. The lighting is amazing. Like, she is in the dark, and there's like these highlights just on all the film spools. The inserts, I feel, are really amazing, and it's a nice little sequence of when she starts up the scene and shows it to him, how she like pushes a couple of buttons and pulls a film strip off the rack and puts it into the machine. All these things, I think, is really nicely cut. And then, yeah, the setup is really important at 23 seconds, where she like gets entangled with her scarf. That just sort of sets it up in a way that we now are fully prepared for the fact that she's going to get stuck in there later on in the scene. Without that, I think it would be even more confusing about what's going on.
Yeah.
So she gets stuck at 2:08.
Okay, and then also we just really wanted to look at it to see. It wasn't a scene that we had any particular thing about. We just know that it's a scene that really is a nice nod to the life of the editor back in the day, and it's always cool to see that and check it out. So it was a fun one to look at.
Yeah.
If you have a scene that you would like us to look at, by all means, send it our way. We're happy to do this exact thing with it on the show. And if you have any comments you'd like to make, where would they make comments, Sven?
They could go to Twitter at This Guy Edits. Let us know. There's a couple of things that are on my mind. Like, I wouldn't mind taking a look at Goliath, which the 3rd season just started. I think that's an incredible show on Amazon. I was also just thinking about Ferris Bueller. Let us know if that's a show you even know, that you remember. Movie from mid-'80s. Great movie.
So very cool. So it'll be Sven's pick this week if we hear nothing.
For sure. And there's a new video coming out on YouTube on This Guy Edits on Saturday. So have a look out for that.
Ooh, awesome. What's it about?
It's about the art of the algorithm.
Oh, right. We talked about that before. Okay, so the algorithm video is coming out.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait to see how you finalize that. Thank you to Curtis for the music, and as Sven always says,
happy editing.
There's no sane zone, so put your head between the speakers. There's no sane zone, so put your head between the speakers.